Well, hello, Pat Gray. Welcome to the program. We're glad you're here, filling in for Stu for a few days, who I don't think works anymore, really.
He does seem to be gone a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah. I don't know how this happened. He's got the Johnny Carson schedule, and I have the schedule of Doc Severinsen.
Kind of weird.
Anyway, yeah, it's weird, and what a weird old analogy to make. Anyway, let me ask you, Pat, how do you feel about the GOP today?
A lot like I felt yesterday, even more so, though. They're useless, they're worthless, and rarely do they pull anything off that we want them to or expect them to.
Yeah. Well, let's start. Can we start with some good news? Mm-hmm. It looks like the border bill is done. Okay, so that's good. And they pulled that off, but honestly, they pulled that off because of a few senators, Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, and some of the others. Mike is getting raked over the coals. I don't know if you saw his former chief of staff from Mitch McConnell's office saying, what was it? There's one thing they care deeply about, and that's to make sure we don't kill Hamas. That's it. And I'm being deadly serious about that. I'm talking about people like Mike Lee. Wait, what?
Gosh.
The only thing that Lee really wants to make sure is that we don't kill Hamas. That's it. He doesn't give a crap about the immigration bill. Well, you're right. He doesn't care about the immigration bill. He cares about a border bill, which this was not. In continuing his barrage against Lee, Holmes said he'd do it all day and baselessly claimed Utah's senior senator didn't care about any of the issues. He's a perfect example of an individual who has gone way, way out of his way just to completely pervert anything he's told his voters. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
These guys are living delusional lives. Just delusional lives. It's nuts. And then Ted Cruz steps up to the microphone yesterday, and he was asked, about Mitch McConnell, and he talks about Mitch McConnell and his disqualifying betrayal on the most recent border bill. He said it was time for McConnell to step down. When asked if he thought it was time for McConnell to go, he said, yes, I think it is. I think a Republican leader should actually lead this conference and should advance the priority of Republicans. Amen. Amen. He said Senate GOP leadership screwed this up and screwed us, quite frankly, even while refusing to let us see the bill they claimed to be negotiating on our behalf for months. They were never in doubt, insisting we'd be dumb and even unpatriotic not to support it. This is a disqualifying betrayal. The guy who, let's give credit to Mitch McConnell. He is the guy who really got a couple of the Supreme Court justices through. It was Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. But it was Mike Lee and Ted Cruz that helped shape the picks of the court, even though they didn't get, their entire wish list. They were at least okay with it. We didn't get another John Roberts, at least not yet. The idea that Mitch McConnell is still there, even when he's having his episodes, is still running, is still in charge of the purse strings. This is something that's got to stop. We need new leadership in the Senate, and now is the time to get it. And we need somebody that's listening to the voters, and Mitch McConnell certainly isn't. By the way, this whole thing with this border bill and the way the press has been spinning it, imagine how bad it would be, how duped and how way off the beaten path we would be if it wasn't for independent voices in America. When I went to Roger Ailes about halfway through, I said to him, Roger, I have to thank you for buying us time. He said, what do you mean? And I said, I don't think after 9/11 the country would have been the same if it wasn't for Fox News. I mean, that's when Fox News just took off, and we started talking about what really was going on when everybody else immediately started saying, oh, no, don't hate Muslims. We don't hate Muslims. We hate terrorists who happen to be Muslim. There's a difference. And he bought us time. Fox News did for a long time. Those days are over. However, can you imagine if we are censored? And I think this will be happening. I can guarantee you it will be happening to some degree, much more than it is by summer. But we find out now that the Biden administration is funding AI tools. And this came out yesterday in the House Judiciary Committee. The report reveals that Biden administration is spending millions on artificial intelligence research designed to make anti-misinformation tools then will be given to the social media giants. It discloses how researchers who got funding for the plan, known as Track F, emailed each other to say Americans could not tell fact from fiction online and that conservative and veterans were even more susceptible than the public at large. Unbelievable. Imagine when they are censoring things, how many... This is why they have to censor. You saw exactly why we no longer debate things, why they always rush bills at the very last minute, because if you give it 2 days and the American people find out what's in it, we're against it. So there's their first step. The second step is to censor everybody, call it misinformation, and it goes by so fast. This is why independent voices like the Blaze, and I didn't intend on pitching you here, but the Blaze is so important. You know, all of these independent voices are so important. Please join us at the Blaze because our battles are just beginning against censorship. But anyway, so good news. The people found out about it, rose up, called the Senate, and the system worked the way it was supposed to work. Also yesterday, some good news. I think this is good news. Ronna McDaniel has informed President Trump that she plans to leave the role after the South Carolina Republican presidential primary later this month. That's good news, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's about time. I mean, that's long overdue.
You know, the GOP, I honestly don't know what they stand for anymore. You know, for instance, on the Mayorkas thing, the House failed to impeach Mayorkas. 4 Republicans joined the Democrats. Now, I mean, is there an easier impeachment than this guy? He is the guy running the Homeland Security, running the border and everything else. He's been telling us there's no crisis, no invasion. 10 million illegal immigrants have entered the U.S., doubling the existing population, and the Republicans couldn't get that done. I mean, the one thing you can say about the Democrats is no matter how radical, they all move together. They're moving together to destroy the country, and we can't get enough Republicans to stand together to save the Constitution and the Republic. It's infuriating.
Yeah, how many Democrats defected when they were impeaching Donald Trump? Seems like it was 0.
None.
Yeah, 0 both times. And yet they can't get a thing done. And like you said, this should be easy. I think the only one easier should be Joe Biden. But, I mean, this is pretty darn easy. And they just can't get it done. Although Marjorie Taylor Greene said yesterday that they might get another chance as early as next week. So this isn't quite over yet. Hopefully.
Right, but I'd have to ask you, why wasn't this vote postponed? You know, why wasn't this postponed? There's one guy, Blake Moore. He's a Republican out of Utah. And first, I'm like, why can't this is inexcusable that some of the reddest places in America have these rhinos. But from what I understand, Blake Moore flipped his yay to nay because you can bring it back, a motion to reconsider, and it can only be brought back by somebody who voted no. And what they're hoping is that Steve Scalise will be back in. Why you would hold this without Scalise is beyond me.
Yeah.
Especially when it's this tight.
Yeah, because the actual vote was 215. So he changed his vote so he could be a no vote and bring it back for next week.
Right. So that's good
that
he did that.
Yes.
But Ken Buck from Colorado, I mean, useless.
Mm-hmm.
Tom McClintock, California, useless. Mike Gallagher from Wisconsin, useless. Useless. If you can't do this with an invasion going on, what can you do?
Especially when the guy responsible for allowing the invasion is saying there is none and that the border is secure multiple times. He says it over and over and over again. It's not even a problem to them. Certainly to him, it's not even a problem. And if it is a problem, it's a problem created by Donald Trump. I don't know how they even have the giblets to make that claim, but man, they're pushing that hard right now.
It's like, listen to these people.
I know.
Listen to them. It's a mental illness. It really is. And I remember, who was it? Was it Michael Savage that said, mental illness? And I laughed at that and thought it was funny. But
he was serious. And
he was serious, and he's right.
Yes.
He's right. It is absolutely a mental illness. At this point, it's a religion and a mental illness.